Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a community challenge. It's one that's been out for a few weeks. I feel pretty bad about how long it took for me to do the challenge. What is that challenge? The challenge was set up by our good friend Huck over at Huck's Pop Culture Cafe. And the challenge is 5 duologies, or as he put it, top 5 double features. And I'm going to do the challenge, but I'm going to put a little bit of a twist on it. And I watched a handful of other videos that other people in the community have done, and I wanted to do just a little bit of a twist. And I'm going to do my top 5 favorite underrated double features. These were ones that I didn't really see anybody else talking about. So why don't you guys stick around and we'll get into it. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff, and welcome back to my channel, JOHNDOEJUGGALO. If this is your first time here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Like my daughter says, it's free, and you can always change your mind later. If this is not your first time here, welcome back. This is where you're going to find me discussing my favorite things about movies and music, video games, and the physical medias that surround all of those types of mediums. So please sit back and relax and check out this next video. All right, y'all. So I want to get right into it, even though it took me like a whole bunch of weeks, really. More weeks than I'm proud to admit to get around to making this video. So I guess I'm not getting right into it. But I would like to explain why it took me as long as it did. Before I get on here and sit down and talk about movies on my channel, I like to actually watch the movies and not go based on memories from years past. So when there's a list of 5, 10, 15, 20, in this case it was 10 because it was 5 duologies. It was 10 movies that I watched before I sat down to make this video for you guys. And I still didn't watch all 10 of the movies. There's 2 of them here that I've watched so many times in my life I didn't need to rewatch them. So it may have even taken longer had I watched those other 2 movies. And with that said, I decided to try to choose 5 double features that others didn't really choose. Because I did watch all of the videos that I've seen popping up. There's been a good handful of different ones that I've watched. And I don't think that any of these double features made it into anyone else's list in the community. So I'm trying to bring just a little something else to the table. I also wanted to talk about 5 double features that, you know, like I said, were not as popular maybe, or they're underrated in my opinion. So we're going to get right off with one of my favorite 2000s comedy double feature. Why it never got a third one, I don't really know, because both movies are just as good as the other in this series, and they're a lot of fun. And they're just super action-packed. And we're talking about Crank and Crank 2. Where is our Crank 3? Around this same time, Jason Statham was doing the Transporter movies. We got 3 of those with him in it. We got a 4th one with a new actor. And we got a Transporter TV show. But we couldn't turn Crank into a trilogy? Crank 2 is just as fun and off the chain as Crank 1. They brought back a lot of the same actors from Part 1 to come to Part 2. So, in my opinion, this is just one of those really good double features that stick the canon correctly, you know? It's just it's just as goofy and as off the wall as part one. And part one was crazy. And with the ending of part one, you wonder, how do they make a part two? And then you get to the ending of part two, and you're kind of like, how would they make a part three? Except they already kind of negated what happened at the end of part one, so they could easily negate what happens at the end of part two, because if you watch to the end of the credits, we deserve our Crank 3. Next up is a double feature that I have always really enjoyed. I've enjoyed both movies in the series. There was supposed to be a third one, and that third one was supposed to come out about 10 years ago from the time that I'm sitting here recording this, so I'm not so sure we're going to get part 3. But we have Journey to the Center of the Earth and Journey to the Mysterious Island. This is such a great double feature. And I literally watch these back to back every time I watch them now, because in my opinion, you really just can't have one without the other anymore. Part 2 is just so funny. And The Rock is actually very standout in this film. Not as standout as her dad. I can never remember his name. And you don't see him anywhere on here, which is crazy. Oh, Louis Guzman is his name. Dude is hilarious. He literally makes 80% of the comedy of this movie. This one's not as much comedy as this. They definitely leaned a little more into the comedy action rather than just the straight up action from part 1. But we were supposed to get a Journey 3 to the moon and back, and we've never got it. In part 1, they tease Atlantis, and then in part 2, we get to see Atlantis. So they teased to the moon and back in part 2, and we never did get our part 3. They just can't get it off the ground. They can't get it funded, I guess. They can't get it started. So as far as this stands, this is a duology. And if they were to make a third one at this point, I'm not even sure if we would want to fit it in this same series any longer, because these were kind of spaced apart in a way that part 3 needed to come out within at least the same window as these. I think there was like 4 years between these two movies, or 5 years, and we're almost 10 years out from part 2. So I don't think we're going to get a part 3 to a great double feature. Lots of family fun, lots of good laughs to be had. And if you have the way to watch them in 3D, both of these are amazing 3D features. They will definitely show off your tech and really give you that wow factor. And that's the Journey duology. Now, another double feature just so happens to have The Rock in its sequel. And I didn't pull this like this on purpose. I just started watching the movies and being like, yeah, that's right. So, and this is pretty early on in The Rock's career. So in that fashion, it's kind of like he was destined to just do sequels for a while, for the first little bit, because you had him in The Mummy Returns, you had him in Journey 2, and you had him in this one, which was Be Cool. And that is the sequel to Get Shorty. Now, both of these movies, how they are a sequel is that John Travolta is the same character. John Travolta plays Chili Palmer, and he is a gangster of sorts in Get Shorty. And what he wants to do is he wants to make movies. That's what the whole thing is about. So if you're a movie lover, you should really gravitate to this story, just for the pure simple fact that it's about he's wanting to get himself straight, and you know, he wants to be in the film business. He wants to make movies, wants to be in Hollywood, and this whole story is about how he has to he has to collect a debt from a filmmaker to be able to fund his film. And he does his mob styles. Now, Be Cool is a sequel, yes, to Get Shorty, but it's in a way different kind of style. Now, they're both kind of goofy in a way, and how they do some of their one-liners and that kind of thing, and the way that they kind of take care of certain situations. It's a little more comedic than it would be action or mob style in the sense of Get Shorty. Now, I actually like Be Cool better. I think Be Cool is a more fun movie. And what happens in Be Cool is that he gets to start making movies. Chili Palmer gets to start making movies. And he's bored with it. He's getting tired of it. So as you can tell here in the logo, Be Cool. What is that? Yeah, that's a record. He wants to get into the music business. So, like I said, it just goes off the wall with its goofiness and its craziness. And this was one of The Rock's early performances, and he plays a gay bodyguard. And there's a reason why you have to kind of tell people that. I mean, you not really tell people that, but it's an ongoing joke in the movie. They actually use it in the movie as part of his character development, which in 2025 doesn't sound the best way to maybe build a character, but it really works for this movie, and it really works for how The Rock portrays it. I would say if you like Get Shorty and you've missed Be Cool, you should watch it. If you've never seen either one of these, you should find them and watch them. Great double feature, fun time. And as an ICP guy, Be Cool has ICP in the record label. Not like the guys, but when Vince Vaughn goes walking through the record label offices, there's like a cardboard stand-up of ICP in the doorway, and then as he's walking through the office, in the background of the office, you can see one of their albums, which is The Great Malenko, one of their biggest albums of all time. You can see a poster for it hanging in one of the offices in the background. So, as somebody that's, down with the clown, it's very cool to see that in, a movie, just kind of in the background. But I still highly recommend this as a double feature. Next up is another double feature that is supposed to get a third movie. We've just never got it. And I love both of these films. They're both really fun. I don't think the second one is worse than the first one by any means. I can see the quality of the jokes are just not as hitting, but not enough to warrant not getting the third movie. But when the second one came out, this was about the time that both of these actors kind of started to step back from the Hollywood limelight. And we're talking about Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights. There's supposed to be a Shanghai Sunrise, I think, is supposed to be the third movie. And it's been in production hell since 2013. I don't think we're getting it. I think this is what we get, guys. This wonderful double feature pack. Now, this is, as far as I know, the only way it exists on Blu-ray. It is a touchstone film, which means it is Disney, and it is kind of set up like a Disney Buena Vista, Blu-ray of its time. It even has, its 2013 Blu-ray release. Usually only the Disney movies do that down in the little box in the corner. And this, as you can tell here, it says for the experience Shanghai Noon and Nights for the first time on Blu-ray, featuring a new digital restoration with enhanced picture and sound. Now, this Blu-ray looked great. I still don't think this is getting the justification that it deserves, because look, they squeezed them both onto one Blu-ray disc. Now, it is a 50 gigabyte Blu-ray disc, dual layer Blu-ray disc, according to Blu-ray.com. So each movie does get basically 25 gigabytes of its own. But still, I mean, is this all the special features that both these movies ever had? It is pretty loaded, but it's loaded with a whole lot of commentaries and not necessarily a whole bunch of video features. Now, maybe this is everything that exists for this film, but Disney could totally give the rights to Arrow for this, and Arrow could put this out in a big chunky double feature box set like they did the Titans movies. They could totally do that for these, and I think these would sell really well. They could just do a Shanghai double feature chunky boy box set, and I'm rebuying it because these movies are a fun time. Funny as can be. Jackie Chan's still doing all of his stunts and everything. Owen Wilson is still being just as loofy and goofy as he ever is. The Shanghai movies, guys, highly on my recommendation list. All right, y'all, and lastly, we're gonna have to go with like probably my favorite double feature. And you know, you're here on a Juggalo channel, so what do you think we're gonna pick? That's right, we're going with the big money double feature. This is Big Money Rustlers, which is Insane Clown Posse's Western movie. And the second bonus feature is actually their first film, Big Money Hustlers, which is their take on a comedic gangster film. Now, if you guys have never seen these before, I highly suggest these for all types of movie lovers. If you can get past the fact that these guys are wearing clown paint, I think you could really dig it, because if you like Westerns, they do a really good job of actually making a really good Western comedy. And if you like New York style gangster movies, they do a really good job of making like a New York style gangster movie. The first movie here, Big Money Hustlers, has Rudy Ray from the Dolomite movies, and it also has Harlan Williams in it, along with the Misfits and all kinds of just really cool one-off cameos. They got Rerun in it, so they got a whole bunch of cast for this one. Now, the Rustlers, they got Insane Clown Posse, Jason Mewes, Twisted, Mark Jury. They have our good favorite wrestler in here who has now passed away, Scott Hall. They've got Tom Sizemore, Vanilla Ice. They got the cast loaded for this Western. And it's funny. Now, this isn't an official one. They never released Blu-rays. This is a custom made. But they did release their DVDs. So you have multiple ways to find these and watch them. They're also both on Tubi. So I would definitely say check those out there at the very least. All right, y'all. So in closing, we've got 5 double features right there for you guys, which, you know, is 10 movies. These are all ones that, like I said, I think that they all deserve a third film, really. And they're all kind of more underrated double features, in my honest opinion. If you guys stuck around for the whole video today, thank you. Like always, I truly do appreciate it. If you guys would take a moment to check out our channel members, and if you would like to join our wonderful members here, please make sure to hit the join button right down below. Like always, everyone, that's not why I do just this. I do it for the connection with all of you all, and the community, and the sharing of the love of movies and games and physical media and all of that kind of stuff. But remember, when we're talking about our favorite art, we must always keep it physical.